So let's move on to the aspect of what would constitute. So this is what we call as importance versus urgency. This is a very good matrix, very good tool to actually help you prioritize. So what you do is on the x-axis, you try and do the urgency. So it's a low versus high. That means it's not urgent versus it's very urgent. And then on the y-axis, you've got the low and the high of importance. So it's not important versus very important. So you actually have a scale of relevance. And then once you do that, so you plot your stuff around that, your tasks, and what you try and do with respect to each of those tasks, you try and plot them onto this kind of aspects of this matrix, and you'll get a kind of 4 different quadrants. So the first quadrant is basically something that is not important and it's not urgent. So what would you do? You just kind of ignore that, you delete and remove that. So some of the things that you would typically come across are things like things which can wait, which you don't have to really worry about, which are trivial, which are not at all important to your job, nor your career, nor your long-term career, nor your life. So in these kind of things, you've got to just ignore. You don't have to really worry about it. So you delete those. And then the most other important thing is basically some of the things that are very urgent that you must do right now. But then in terms of the importance, they're not really that important. They're not actually, they can, in terms of the scale of importance, they don't figure high in that scale. So in which case, what you must do with those tasks is you delegate. You don't delete, you don't ignore, but you try and give those tasks to somebody else. So either your subordinate, your peers, or either your colleagues, your team members in the context of work, in the context of your own family, you can give it to your family members, anybody, friends, anybody can actually kind of take it from there, because it is urgent, you must do that. So somebody else can do that, not necessarily you. So that's the reason why you need to delegate those. So some of the things include meetings, phone calls, emails. These are not emails, again, they've come to a stage where it was really important at some point of time. You need to really answer them. You need to send an email immediately, to an extent where it is more of an offline communication. That's why we've got the aspect of some of the things that we do now, where we've got the emails coming in the order of importance of communication much lower, because it's not urgent, whereas a chat or an IM or a phone call on your mobile phone would be relatively quicker. So it's all about that, the kind of prioritization and what you do with the overall objectives of your own life, career, and work. And then if you've got some tasks which are of very high importance, but then they're not really urgent, what you do is to actually kind of schedule them. You can actually schedule them. You can actually kind of give them a time limit. You don't have to really work on that right now, but you can kind of do that in a week, maybe in a couple of days, or even in a month's time, or in a year's time, depending on the urgency of that or the importance of that particular task. So in this case, you can actually kind of do the SMART, what we call as a SMART goal. So which is specific. You need to have a specific time. You need to make it measurable. It should be achievable, reliable, and it should be testable. So that's the kind of goals we talk about, the SMART goals. So for example, things like your performance appraisal in your job would be a SMART. So that's a SMART objective. So these are the kind of things that you can really kind of pace yourself. You don't have to do it like right now, right here, but you can kind of pace yourself and plan for it in a proper way. And last but not the least, some things which are really, really urgent, and then they're also very important. So in which case you need to attend to them like right now, right here, things that need that shout for your attention, for your involvement, for your action. So these are the things that have like deadlines. For example, if the government says you need to submit your tax assessment, self-assessment tax by 1st of January or 31st of January, you must do that. There's no other option. That's, as they say, death and the tax. These are the most important things and most urgent things one can never ignore. So those are things which are like falling on our heads sooner than later. So it's better to attend to them. And similarly, any crisis that happens in your family, anything that requires your urgency, anything that's a showstopper in terms of your defects of your product, anything that actually kind of causes the whole system to go down, your application is not available any longer. So all of these really, kind of pressing needs, the pressing problems that would require our attention then and there, right then. So those are the things that needs to be done like immediately. So in terms of the overall prioritization, you actually look at things which need the important as well as the urgent involvement of all of us or the team members. We prioritize them like to be done immediately, whereas the rest of them could wait. So you plan for and you schedule them in a way that they can wait. And then slowly some of the things which are not required at all, you delete them. So pretty much exactly the same way how we manage the backlog. I'll give an example of that in the next few slides, how this actually translates into the agile development in terms of backlog refinement and grooming. Then you can actually come across and understand the practicality of this tool. Again, very